Alright, welders, here we are. This is part of your layout construction packet. A lot of drawing on these. I think there's 14 or 15 problems that we're going to take care of. And this one is number 2 on your list here, okay? And the instruction simply says bisect line A and B. Let's go a couple of details before we take off with that. Anytime it says line AB, it's talking any line in a connection between point A and point B. If it's telling you to go to a point, it'll be specific about that. Go to point A, line to point B, and then you'll construct your line going to that point. But anytime it says line AB, it's talking about this entire line. So keep that in mind as you guys get your drawings going, okay? Now I've set my compass already, and we want to set it at point B, and we want to strike an arc just past halfway. You can take a guess at it, but we want to be just a little bit past halfway, and I'm going to show you why. We're going to strike an arc right down here somewhere up towards the top, where you can make the entire arc, it doesn't matter. And we want to create an arc there. Keep the distance at the same, don't change anything. Now put your point at point A, and we want to strike an arc so where these lines intersect at top and bottom. Where you see those lines intersect, we're going to set a point. My drafting teacher always taught me that. Set a point, and you just punch your lead in there, give it a little spin, and it'll set a point right there for you, and it'll make you a nice defined area where you're going to make your mark. So I set my lead in that spot, get my cross section set up, and now I know that I've bisected that line. Remember, bisection means a cross section at 90 degrees. This distance, or excuse me, this angle here is 90 degrees, so we know we're perpendicular with that line, and that's a bisection line. You guys practice with that one a little bit. Alright, and we're back. This one is number 3 on your packet, and the instruction here says to bisect angle A, B, and C. Grab my pencil here, excuse me. Bisect angle A, B, and C. I left B and A and B and C at different lengths so I could prove a point here. If we went off of these ends, we would have an incorrect bisection of this angle. So here's the detail here. We're going to have this, I've got mine about an inch or so, something close to an inch, and all this can be random. And I want to mark off 2 sections here. So what we've done here, point A to point B is different from point B to point C. But now with these cross sections, and we're going to call this D and E, and from those areas, now we know those are equal distance from that corner, from that point B. Now we're going to lengthen this up just a little bit, and all we want to do is bisect an angle. We have no idea what that angle is. And remember, we want to keep the same distance on our compass here. Set our point at D, and we're going to strike an arc right here. Remember to set your point. All it is setting your lead in there, getting a point in there, and once we got a point set, we can bisect this angle, and there's a simple bisection of an angle. So you guys practice with that a little bit. This was number 3 on your packet. Okay, we're back. This one is number 4 on your packet, and this instruction is going to be erect a perpendicular line above line A and B at point B. So we're going to run a perpendicular, remember, 90-degree cross, and starting at point B, 90 degrees up. Let's see how we do that, okay? So I've got my compass set up here. I am roughly about an inch and a half or so on my compass. And I'm going to scribe me a line somewhere in that neighborhood there. I hope you guys can see that. See if I can make it just a touch darker for you. See how that works a little bit. Okay. Now, I know from that line Anywhere on that line, I'm going to cross B. Anywhere. So I'm going to kind of get it in here somewhere where we can work with it. And I'm making an entire circle. I know I'm going to cross at point B, but I'm going after 2 points here. So notice that my complete circle is going through point B. I've got my compass set at the same distance, and I've created point C right here. From this point, I want to check my center point. You should cross we're going to call this one D. Okay? And that's going to give you 2 points right here. You can go ahead and set your points with your pencil. You should have that one already from your center mark. And now what we've done is we can create 2 points, and we're going to strike them on the arc, or excuse me, a straight line through both of these lines. And I'm going all the way across. There we are right there. Now we created point E over here. And all we got to do is tie in point B through point E. Set your point. Set your point. Set your lead still. Make your marker across. And there we have, I went a little too far, but you see where I'm going with this here. This is still point B, of course. And now we have a 90-degree turn right here at point B. So let's practice with that one. Let's see if we can get this one going. Good luck. All right, let's get back to it. This is problem number 5 in your packet. Instruction says construct perpendicular line from point C to line A and B. So we know we're talking about this entire line, so we got to go from this point to this line at 90 degrees. Let's see how we can do that, okay? On this one here, I've purposely put my C away from the center. It is not quite centered because I want to show you something here. I want you to set your compass. This has 2 settings on your compass. So you come over here to point C, set your compass from B to C, strike across C and make sure you're there, and then we're going to strike an arc at the bottom. Now obviously we can't go from A all the way out here because it's not going to be correct. So we've got to set our compass from point A to point C. Go across there, make sure we're at the center. See how we're at the center there? And strike an arc at the bottom. So this will have you where you're going to set your compass at 2 different settings to get the line. So I've got a point here and a point right there, but the instruction says from point C to line A and B. So we don't need to pass this horizontal axis right here. So we're going to set our pencil, get them lined up, and we're only going to construct a line from C to A and B. Let's practice with this one a little bit.
Maybe I'm gonna go ahead and go.
Okay, now let's work problem number 6. The instruction says make arc with a 2-inch radius through points A and B. Now this one, obviously, now we're talking about points. There is no AB line. Now we got 2 separate points, and we have to make a 2-inch radius mark between them. I've got a little bit of advantage of you here. I've got a mat here that I work with. Each one of these lines, each one of these squares is 1 inch. So I can go ahead and set my compass at 2 inches. You can do the same thing with a ruler. Set your compass with the ruler, something like that. Or you can make yourself 2 lines on your paper 2 inches apart, and you can set your compass that way, okay? Now what we're going to do from point A or point B to start with, we've got our compass already set at a 2-inch radius. So we got to strike us an arc up here. Remember, it's still set at 2 inches, and we're going to set our point at point A, and we're going to construct an intersection up here at top. That's going to give us point C, or a center point spot. Okay, so now if we went at 2 inches, we're going to leave. Now we're going to set our point at CP over here, which is center point, and it should hit all of the points there. So let's make an arc, and remember it says go through them. So there's your 2-inch radius through 2 points. Let's practice with that a little bit. Alright, welders, we're back with problem number 7 in our packet. The instruction here is going to say, or it says, construct an arc through points A, B, and C. A, B, and C, and we want an arc going through all 3 of these, okay? So here's how we're going to do that. We're going to bisect B and A. So we remember how to bisect. We're going to go a little bit past halfway, you know, kind of have an imaginary line across there. If you need to put one there, put one on there. I don't care. I think that's cool. Let's do one like that. Just, I mean, we're going to have a lot of lines on our paper anyway. So let's make a line across there. I'm cool with that. Let's just, that way you can kind of visualize what you need to do there. And all we want to do is go just a little bit past halfway. Just a little bit, and we're going to create those 2 arcs that we've been working with. Same distance. We're going to set a point A. There's our little marks right there. Almost caught that right at the end, but good enough to make me have a mark right there. So I got a point. I've got a point right there. See those 2 points? And I'm going to construct my line across there. Go ahead and draw your line out there just a little bit further than what you normally do. That gives us a bisection of those 2 points. And we're going to do the same thing over here with C and B. So remember, just a little bit past halfway. Sorry about that. I just hit the camera. Sorry about that. Let the camera reset itself a little bit. There we go. And we're going to strike an arc like so. And then we're going to go to B. Move your paper around how you need to. I'm a right-handed guy too, so I'm going to strike there. Strike there. You can see the points. You can have a lot of lines on your paper. Just be able to decipher there. And then I'm going to make a mark across there. It's about as straight as I can. And see where these 2 lines intersect. So that's the perpendicular line between B and C. That's the perpendicular line between A and B. And when they cross right there, that's going to be our center line. We're going to call that D. And if we did our math correct, we can set our point from point D to point A. And it should hit all 3 points. Let me see how we're going to do this. There we go. And there's our arc. There is our arc through 3 points. Let's practice that again. Let's just go over there. I know I had my hand all over the place. So we're going to bisect the area between A and B, bisect the area between C and B, and where those 2 bisected lines intersect, there's your center point. If you set your center point to A or to B or to C, it should still strike all 3 points. Let's practice with this bad boy. This will take a little time. Take your time with it. Good luck.